Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and the word of the day is political. Now, part of me really didn't want to use this word today, and part of me knew I kind of had to. Because there has been so much going on that is political right now. And I've been seeing a lot of dialogue going on kind of in the entrepreneurial coaching world about where to fall in terms of the world of politics. And some of the people that I admire the most, like Brené Brown and Marianne Williamson, they have been putting their money where their mouth is. They have been stepping out and they've been talking the talk. And they've really been having the guts to speak about some of the dark, difficult, uncomfortable stuff. And Brené did a Facebook video yesterday that really moved me. And one of the things that she said that I agree wholeheartedly with is that basically the stories that we deny, the stories that we don't own, the stories that we ignore, the stories that we keep secret, they are the ones that own us. And that when it comes to this country, our story of white supremacy, our story of racism, our story of power over, all of this stuff is the stuff that is owning us because we are not necessarily addressing it front on. Well, right now, it certainly seems like all of this is rising to the surface and is definitely allowing itself to be addressed. And there is a lot that is happening. The other thing that I've been hearing about is like people who are basically saying that anybody who is not political is privileged. Anybody who is not needing to be politically active is basically able to do that because they have the insulation of their money, of their privilege, of their opportunity, of whatever, and that basically that's not acceptable. Now, I don't know where I actually fall in that personally about, or what my opinion about that is because I actually really do believe that every human being is entitled to what they need to do. And that some people choose to be political, some people choose not to be political. I personally have been political my entire life. I come from a very political family. I registered to vote like days after I turned 18, and I have voted in every single presidential election, every single like state senatorial election. I will admit I have missed a few town elections in my entire life, but I have been deeply committed to democracy since I have been a very young person and believe wholeheartedly that it can make a really big difference. But I also know people who don't believe it can make a difference and think the whole thing is a sham. And I am willing to be willing to acknowledge that I'm only one human being. I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers. I'm not really sure. So all I can do is use my one vote and do the things that I believe in. Now, the other thing about politics is that there's that old saying, which is that basically one should never discuss three things in mixed company: religion, money, and politics. And that it's considered gauche, it's considered inappropriate, it can be very alienating to discuss politics with other people. And certainly, if we discuss politics in a way that is about making somebody else wrong, that is about finger pointing, is about telling somebody that what we believe is right and what they believe is wrong, that essentially is going to shut down the dialogue, and it's not necessarily going to get us very far. But I do feel that at this point in time, it is imperative that we find a way to have a conversation about politics, that we find a way to have a conversation about racism, that we find a way to have a conversation about sexism, that we find a way to have a conversation about poverty and classism, that we find a way to have a conversation about homophobia and all of the other isms that are going on. Because right now, not addressing it, we are just spinning our wheels and things are escalating and they're getting more and more intense. And as highly sensitive empathic people, we feel it. And it's not like it's just necessarily going to go away because we go and spend the day watching kitten videos on YouTube or pinning like recipes on Pinterest. So what I can tell you is what works for me and what I believe, because that's all I really have. Because number one, I personally believe that I know what I know, but it's not necessarily true for anybody else. And I'm willing to sit in the mystery, and I'm willing to admit that I don't have all the answers. I also believe sincerely that the most effective way for us to make change is to learn how to be in dialogue with each other, is to learn how to understand each other, and to learn how to look for solutions that are about creating a win-win. And that starts by understanding what the fears and the concerns of each side are, so that we understand what somebody's motivations are and what they are hoping to accomplish. So I believe very strongly in that. Now, personally, where I fall in regards to all of this is that I believe my job is to be somebody who helps to maintain the calm. Because I sincerely believe when it comes to profound transformation and change, that when we can navigate the choppy seas more calmly and smoothly and gently, we are going to have a much better likelihood of getting to the other side of it than if we are doing it like a chicken with our head cut off. So as a result, I feel very strongly that my work is about cultivating as much compassion, as much love, as much light as possible for all of this, and holding the space for healing, holding the space for light, and looking at the things that need to be looked at with compassion, with mercy, and doing what I can on an individual and group level to help people to heal, as well as to work with the ancestral lines to help heal those too. Now, when it comes to political action, what I believe I can do is that I can make phone calls to my representatives, to my senators, to the politicians, that I can learn what I need to learn about local politics, about state politics, as well as national politics, and that I can write letters, I can make phone calls, and I can donate money to organizations that are going to be able to do more than I personally can do. And I can donate what I can donate. Even a penny can make a difference. Even every little bit counts. And that's about showing up for what I believe in and trying to help towards the greater good. Now, what I do not believe works, what I actually believe is incredibly ineffective, is being outraged, is being and is getting all emotionally jacked up about all of this stuff and staying emotionally jacked up. Now, temporary anger, it's understandable. There's a lot of stuff to be angry about right now, but sustained anger is draining. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. It can affect our health. It can affect our body. And I do not believe that it is an energy that allows us to be productive and effective, because we are so jacked up with adrenaline when we are constantly angry that we do not have the ability to see clearly and see all of the possibilities and all of the options. We often get tunnel vision when we are angry. So for me, part of my path of action, political action, is about remaining remarkably calm despite what is going on, choosing not to engage in outrage, choosing not to name call, choosing not to finger point, choosing not to be just like pissed for the sake of being pissed, but instead to acknowledge my anger, take a breather, and then come back to compassion, come back to love, and at the same time to really recognize the distinction between finger pointing, name calling, and just being angry for the sake of being angry, and holding people accountable. Because there are things that need to be held accountable. There are things that we need to say, this is not acceptable, this needs to change, this behavior is not appropriate in a healthy functioning society, and it needs to stop. That is really different than calling somebody a redneck, than calling somebody an asshole, than calling somebody, any other number of names that are coming around these days. So for me, what I really believe is that right now is a time to look at what is going on, to recognize what our bandwidth is, to make the phone calls and take the actions that we can take, to donate the money that we can, and to engage in as respectful a dialogue as we possibly can, even when we encounter people who have opposing views, who have different perspective, who believe something different than we do. So, this has been a super long word of the day, but I'm going to keep it the way it is because I've recorded so many before and this one feels like it's a good one. So, my question to you right now is, where are you falling in all of this political stuff? Where do you land in it? Do you believe that political stuff is important, or are you somebody who thinks that it's useless? Are you politically active? Do you try to shy away from it? How are you navigating all of this right now? Because this is really big stuff. And perhaps just as important, how are you taking care of yourself in the midst of all of what is going on right now? So I would love to hear what you have to say about all of this. Please leave a comment below. And until next word of the day, I am wishing you peace, I am wishing you ease, and I am wishing you calmness despite the storm that is brewing in this country. So in the meantime, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady, and also I will be eternally grateful for your help to get this video out into the world. Please like it, please share it, and please pass it along to others who would find it useful. Thank you so much, and until tomorrow, peace.